How can you, just you, be convicted, heartfelt, concerned, and stand up not only for yourself, but for others around you? With everything that goes on in our lives and in our country, do you find that it's hard not to be concerned and not to want to stand up and to say something that would make a difference in other people's lives? Let's think about this. I want you to bring to mind a scenario that you have either witnessed or that has actually happened to you. Let's think about this. And I want us to change geographical locations and the era that we live in. Let's go back to the latter years of the Cold War. And the country that we're going to be living in is Poland. And these same injustices are going on. Lech Walesa was just this man. And he had such a love for his country. He had such compassion for his fellow man. And he acted upon his feelings, his ideas, and his beliefs. Even though he was persecuted, he was arrested, they put him under surveillance, he got fired from numerous jobs, he still went through with the way that he believed, and he still continued to act upon that. Today, I want to talk to you about, and I know that I don't pronounce this correctly because I can't speak Polish, Lech Walesa. He believed in fair working conditions and living conditions for the Polish people. He started out as just a everyday electrician, and he went to work in the shipyards. And the company, because I can't pronounce it in Polish, but the meaning of it is the linen. And I know that that name sounds familiar. There, he became a descendant trade union activist. And descendant, when we're talking about a dissident, excuse me, but in the Soviet, a Soviet dissident is a citizen who disagrees with the government, the communist way of doing things. And he was persecuted by the communist authorities for the way that he stood up, and because of his beliefs. He was placed under arrest, and they put not only him but his family and the surrounding area under surveillance. This led to him being fired from his job. In the 1980s, he was extremely instrumental in political negotiations. And you have to think about this. This is the communist country, and they didn't do negotiations. You did it their way, or you didn't do it at all. You went to jail. And he actually, with his winning charismatic leadership, he actually opened up negotiation lines, and the government actually negotiated with these people, and they were striking in a nonviolent way, and the negotiations It was actually called, I'm going to spell this for you because I can't say it. It's GDNASK. But that was the name of the agreement that the government made between themselves and the striking workers. A phenomenal feat. Um, he also he was so concerned, and what he did is he helped to organize, and at that time they were illegal, and they were called the 1970 strikes at the linen shipyards. And like I've said before, he lost his job, but he continued his involvement with the illegal unions and the strikes. And in June of 1978, he became an activist for what was called the Underground Free Trade Unions. And this these strikes and him standing up and other people following him actually led to other people throughout the country of Poland standing up as well. The outcome of all of these strikes, um, on August 31st of 1978, the communist government actually signed this agreement, and they granted the workers the right to strike, and permitted them um, to form their own independent trade union. Um, Lo and behold, there goes the Solidarity Trade Union was born. Um, the Solidarity Trade Union, Welsaw or Velse, he was chosen to be the chairman, but the most important thing was he was the co-founder of the Solidarity Trade Union. He was so charismatic, and people believed in what he was doing so much that in just a short matter of time, they had over 10 million Polish people that were members of this trade union. And if you equal that out, that's approximately a quarter of the Polish population. He was arrested. He was thrown in jail for 11 months. The Solidarity trade union was outlawed. Um, he After that he was released from prison, he actually went back to work at the linen as a simple electrician. And during this time, he was actually awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He was so afraid that if he left his country to accept this award, that they would not let him come home. And therefore, his wife went and accepted the award for him. This recognition and him winning the Nobel Peace Prize, the Soviet authorities, they became furious, and they, in a really hostile attitude, claimed that it was a very unfair decision. The Nobel Peace Prize that he got was for his peace negotiations, for his human rights activists, and the coveted prize for the peaceful but effective struggles for cruel and for political rights. Excuse me just 1 second. You know, we can idolize someone or we can emulate them. To idolize them, most of the time they inspire you and you admire them for what that they have accomplished, for their accomplishments. and for their convictions and beliefs. Or you can actually be so inspired that it changes you and that you actually start to stand up and you start the things that you believe in, you speak up for. Myself, I choose to emulate. I choose to stand up for what I believe in and to act upon on my beliefs. Lex Walesa, he was a one of a kind person. He was led by his concern for fellow man and for his beloved Poland. He suffered joblessness. The Soviet authorities, they put him under surveillance. They just constantly harassed him for his beliefs and for standing up. But he accomplished so much. He co-founded the Solidarity Trade Union. Um, he accomplished the impossible. He was a key figure in the negotiations between the striking workers and the government. He in 1983, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Um, I'm going to quote something that the Nobel Peace Prize Committee was quoted as saying. They said, "The power of victory, which abides in one person's belief, in his vision, and in his courage to follow his call." And with this quote from the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, I'm going to come to an end. I thank you for listening. I hope that you were inspired, and I hope that you stand up for what you believe in. My prayer, my quote is that you receive victory in your lives by abiding in your beliefs and in your visions, and that you have the courage to follow your call. Thank you again. I appreciate you. Have a good evening.